I'm Joe from As the Joe Flies.
And I'm Leslie from Trips with Tykes.
And welcome back to Disney Deciphered. So D23 has come and gone. A lot of exciting parks and Disney Cruise Line announcements. Less exciting entertainment announcements, but luckily we're not a podcast that covers entertainment too much. We're here to talk about the parks stuff, Leslie. It was great to hear, I think this is the most excited people have been in a while. It's great to hear all these exciting announcements. They say dirt is moving. I think we should caveat that, but probably one of the best parks panels in a long time. What do you think, Leslie?
Yeah, I totally agree. After the disappointment of the last D23, and frankly, a lot of the announcements that have come since COVID out of Disney, they needed to go big or go home at this D23, and I think they did. And just in terms of the sheer number of announcements, the scale of the announcements, that said, Josh D'Amaro promised that everything was not blue sky, dirt was moving, but as we know, dirt is not moving on a lot of these things. A lot of these things are very far in the future still. So while we're all excited, I'm tempering that excitement with whatever the timeline is going to actually be.
Yeah, they did announce a bunch of dates for when construction would start, but who knows if they stick to it. And yeah, if dirt was actually already moving, by Reconstruct probably would already have the images, and we do not. So we'll see. Excited to talk about it today. What we're going to do is Leslie and I both picked the 3 announcements from the park panels that we're most excited about. And so we'll talk about those, and then we'll do a little bit of a punch list of all the other stuff that got announced. Before that, wanted to start by saying thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. You can check us out on patreon.com/DisneyDeciphered and become a Patreon subscriber. If you're a paid subscriber, you can receive ad-free content, bonus content, and a special thanks and shout out to Ashley a new subscriber for this month. All right, Leslie, let's get into it. Why don't you kick us off with the first announcement that had you excited from D23?
All right. Well, you know me, I'm going to have to start in Disneyland, and the announcements for Disneyland were not as heavy as the announcements like from Disney World and maybe even the rest of the world, but we did get some good things coming to the California parks. And the thing that I'm most excited about there are 2 new Avengers Campus rides coming to DCA. That's really, really big. We knew one more was coming. Disney announced when Avengers Campus was in development that there was going to be an e-ticket ride. And then, of course, that got kind of changed, and sort of the premise of that ride got altered over the course of the pandemic the last couple of years, and we all were wondering, like, when is it coming and when is it coming? Now it's coming, and they added on another attraction as well. So the 2 rides we're getting: Avengers Infinity Defense, and that's the King Thanos ride that we already knew about, and then the new ride is Stark Flight Lab. So super excited about this. Avengers Campus, it's been a hit, but it's small and it feels like there needs to be more to do. The characters there are great, but there need to be more rides. So very, very excited about this.
Yeah, apparently this unannounced ride, or the one that was a surprise to us, is what's called a Kuka arm flat attraction. And people are likening it to Sum of All Thrills. Leslie, did you ever do Sum of All Thrills at Innoventions?
No, I never, at least not that I remember. But isn't that what's used in the Harry Potter Forbidden Journey ride?
I'm not sure about that. I'm not a theme park aficionado if it's not Disney, and I do not know what these attraction types are called. But if I can describe it, it's like you are in a vehicle attached to an arm and you're just getting spun around. Honestly, like looking at Sean from 20-Minute Travel and Miles to Memories sent me a picture of this type of attraction. It's called Knight's Tournament in Legoland, California, and I felt sick just looking at it. So I'm excited it's coming. We'll see if I actually get on it when it comes out. But it was legitimately surprising that they announced 2 attractions. I think when the video was starting and they were like, I think the teaser video was like, oh, we're doubling Avengers Campus in size. People are like, doubling? And then they announced that 4th attraction. So they're going from 2 attractions to 4 attractions. And I think that was a legitimately cool and exciting moment.
Yeah, I think that's much, much needed. And kudos. Disney, I think we all would have been satisfied if Disney had just had the one and it would be an e-ticket, because that's really all we've been hoping for. But this is like very much expanding Avengers Campus, because if you think about it, we really only got one ride with Avengers Campus because Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout was already there. Granted, they rethemed it, et cetera, but this is in some ways more than doubling the expansion that was Avengers Campus.
Great point. All right. So for my first attraction or announcement that I was super excited about, they announced that they are going to add Monstropolis, so basically a Monsters Inc. land to Hollywood Studios. A lot of consternation on the internet right now about where that's going to go. At first, people were like very worried that it was going to replace Muppet Vision 3D. If you are a longtime listener or if you listened to our episode, I can't remember what episode it was, but Leslie, you were saying take out Muppet Vision 3D but create a new Muppets Land. We obviously did not get an announcement about a Muppets Land. People are very worried that Muppet Vision 3D is going to be gone. But right now, people are divided between, is it going to be Muppets or is it going to be Star Wars Launch Bay that goes for this? Who knows where Monstropolis is actually going to go, because Disney said that, let's see, they said that work is starting in 2025. So it's one of the things that they're going to start work on a little bit earlier. But I think it's going to be very exciting to have Monsters University. Not Monsters. I mean, I guess Monsters University will be there, but Monstropolis is like the Monsters City. And the thing that I'm really excited about, although who knows by the time it's done, will I be able to ride it? We'll find out. But there's going to be a suspended, I grew up in New Jersey in the 90s, and I remember when Great Adventure came up with the Batman ride where your legs are dangling. It's a roller coaster, but your vehicle's attached on the top and your legs are dangling. I remember how exciting that was. Similar concept, and it's going to be a ride based on, it's a Doors roller coaster, the Monsters Inc. doors that like they go through. And so I'm really excited about that. I think it's a really cool concept. Since the parks panel, they've shown like a mock-up of what it could look like a small model, and that looks really cool too. I'm really excited about both the Monstropolis and the Doors coaster. It sounds awesome.
I mean, the Doors coaster sounds great to me. I love a good coaster. Disney obviously hasn't really been in the major thrill ride business. And so I think this will really up the ante in Disney Hollywood Studios. Like, this is going to become the thrills park with the addition of this. And I too have childhood memories of, the hanging coaster. That must have been something that was like a development when we were at a pivotal moment in our theme park lives, because I remember we got one at Six Flags over Georgia. And then there's one out here in California, the former Top Gun ride at California's Great America. So finally, like 20, 30 years later, Disney's going to get one.
Yes, I mean, between the, none of these, I guess I would say that there's a lot of details we didn't get about some of the other attractions they announced, but all the ones that we got details for, we are not hearing anything about like new ride vehicles, new technology, right? Like, because when Flight of Passage, Rise of the Resistance, even though for Rise, the trackless technology had already existed, it was Disney innovating or like on the tail end of innovation of new attraction types. I do not remember hearing any new attraction types yet, but there's a long way to go. This is the beginning of many of these announcements, so we'll see. But for this Doors coaster, it doesn't seem like it's going to be any tech or anything that we haven't seen before. That being said, Disney is the master of taking old tech, theming it in a way that even though the ride itself doesn't feel new, it's just exciting and awesome and super immersive. So
yeah. Stay tuned though for the location. I think Muppets is safe. I suspect as much. I was hearing some speculation. Some folks are thinking it might go where like Racing Academy is. So I'm not really sure, but there's a lot of space sort of back in that part of the park. Launch Bay, yeah, could go. Please go Launch Bay. Sorry, Brooke McDonald. I know your kids love it.
Yes. Poor Brooke. But I think it's going to have to go. The one thing that I was curious about is if Launch Bay is going to go, is Disney Junior going to survive? Is Little Mermaid, which like they haven't brought it back yet, but they announced that they're bringing back the Little Mermaid, or like a revamped version of the Little Mermaid show attraction. I'm guessing like they can't get rid of it after they've reinvested. I don't know. Can they? So it'll be interesting to find out. But yeah, just rampant speculation on our part right now. Okay, Leslie, what is your second announcement that you're super excited about?
All right, second announcement. And I've been doing a little bit more of this of late. Disney Cruise Line. There are going to be not one, not two, not three, but 4 new ships coming to Disney Cruise Line starting in 2027, ending in 2031. And this is in addition to all the ships that are still in the pipeline that we already know about. So this brings the total to 13 cruise ships that DCL is going to have. I mean, this surprised everybody. Everybody was like, I hope for two. Like, that would be a huge announcement, but I'm not even like truly holding out hope. And then they came through with four. This is, I mean, surprising, but also not surprising, because I know from my own travel planning, and you probably see this in booking so many cruises, Joe, the demand for DCL is just so much higher than it ever has been. And there's so many times that like I would have been interested in taking a Disney cruise, but there wasn't a ship that had an itinerary from a destination that worked for me for the school break that we had. Like, there's just so much more demand than there is supply. And the prices are showing that, because, you know, Disney cruises have been double the prices of like some other comparable lines. And so maybe this will hopefully bring the prices down a little bit for some of the ships if we just have a little bit more supply. Haha, famous last words.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by the time these ships come out, I guess it'll be down relative to the other ships, but these prices are going to be creeping up until then. I was super excited about this, but this is probably the announcement that I like questioned the most and had raised eyebrows from. I agree. The demand is really high. These ships are sailing pretty much full, but is the demand double what is happening? Because currently we only have 5 ships online. And by 2031, we're going to more than double that and be up to 13. Very key that they said they are going to build the fleet up to 13. So it sounds like the Magic and Wonder are still going to be sailing. Maybe those are going to be the discount sailings. It's just, that is a lot. And I'm curious what their numbers are, what their projections are. Is there going to be that much demand? Obviously, with 13 ships, some are just going to be permanently based. You know, we already know that the Adventure, which is the ship that was built 75% and that they bought because that company went out of business, we know that's going to be based out of Singapore. But with 13 ships, you got to imagine, you know, maybe one stays in Australia the whole time. And then one's definitely going to stay in Asia. We know that already, but I'm guessing one's probably going to stay in Europe permanently. But the other thing that I wonder is, and I guess this is Disney's problem, not mine, right? But what I wonder is the demand in other regions equal to the demand that's in the United States? Like, can Disney sustain keeping a ship in Europe for an entire year? And the reason why I wonder that is because Europe is one of the few places where I'm still seeing, you know, they'll have here's a tip for all of you looking to save money on Disney Cruise Line. A couple months before sailing, if they haven't sold enough cabins, which is very rare for the domestic sailings, but if they haven't sold all their cabins, they will do what's called a guaranteed with restrictions rate. And that's like up to 35% off, but it's completely non-refundable. Completely, you have to pay in full immediately when you book it. And also, you don't get to choose where your cabin is. You get to choose cabin type, but you don't get to choose where it is at all. I've really only seen those, the majority of those rates that I've seen have been in Europe, which makes me wonder, like, can they leave a ship in Europe all the time if they're doing these 35% offs? So I don't know. It's exciting. We'll see how it goes. The one thing that I really want to know, and I guess they have a couple years to tell us, is, are these 4 new ships, are they going to be Wish class ships, or are we going to see another class of ships? And that would be exciting. I mean, I'm excited. You know, DCL Duo, they were on a couple weeks ago. They were like, bold prediction, DCL is going to announce 2 more ships. And of course, they had to say, we were wrong. They announced 4. 2 would have made sense to me. 4 is like, that's bold. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, go big or go home sometimes, like you said.
Yeah, that's right. So we shall see if the demand is there. I mean, I just know from like my perspective as a West Coast cruiser, there's just not enough that's within reach of me. I mean, there's Celebrity's got 2, maybe sometimes 3 ships out of like cruising Alaska in summertime. Disney's only ever had the one, and it's the small ship. So there are some places where I do think they can fill in the demand. But you know, I'm hearing you. Maybe not as much in Europe, but maybe it's just a question of like there not being enough itineraries that fit everybody, and there would be more demand if there was more supply. So we shall see. We shall see. All right, Joe, what's your next most exciting announcement for you?
So I love a good boat ride attraction, and there's an announcement for a Coco themed boat ride attraction. Construction not going to start until 2026, which is crazy how far in advance they're announcing this. But construction not starting until 2026, so 2027 at the earliest, we'll see this attraction. But Coco themed boat attraction at Disney's California Adventure. DCA ended up getting a lot of love. They kind of did a bit of an okey doke, like you weren't sure how much Disneyland news there was going to be, but they put some at the beginning, put some at the end, so it ended up being a decent amount. I already love Disney California Adventure. I think giving it more attractions between Avengers and this Coco themed boat ride are going to be awesome. And I think what excited me the most about this attraction, besides, I mean, I love Coco, the music is going to be amazing. Like, we know all that. But I think what excited me is they name checked Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean as models for this attraction, which means, you know, they're going to be animatronics, there's going to be great scenes. And so this is really exciting to me. I can't wait to see what they're cooking up. Again, this is not like any new innovative attraction type. I mean, who knows? Maybe, you know, the animatronics have gotten better and stuff like that. But aside from that, right, this is your simple concept: boat attraction, dark ride attraction. But Coco theme, plus who knows what they can do. I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, I'm excited for this as well. And like you say, it's not anything new, but it is something that works for the whole family. And I think that DCA could use a little bit more of that. Like, you know, you don't just want like a slow, boring boat ride. You want something with maybe a little bit more action going on. And when I hear like pirates, then that makes sense to me. So something that like the teenagers would not be like, eye roll to go on. And this sounds like it's going to check those boxes. So I'm excited about it. I mean, this is the first Coco attraction anywhere in the Disney universe. So that's big. It's an IP that probably deserves something sooner than now. And we all thought that Grand Fiesta Tour was going to get refurbed into this. And I would have been happy with that. I mean, I love Grand Fiesta Tour, but I would not have minded a Coco overlay to that. But this, I think, is going to take it to the next level. It's going to be a more epic attraction than just a retheme and a reskin. So super excited as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point that you bring up. They have the chance to do it even better because they're starting from scratch. Whereas, you know, you're not putting a new skin on. This analogy is going to fall apart, so forget that. But you know what I'm saying? And I really like, with all these announcements, there's been a lot of love spread between the East Coast, West Coast, international parks. I know it's devious in a way because you're going to want to visit all the different Disney parks to see all the things that they have. But I also like that these Disney theme parks, they're not complete carbon copies of each other. They don't all have the exact same thing. So I really like that. You know, we've said this many times. It's good to have different versions of things in Disneyland and Disney World. And so this is another example of that. All right. Third thing that you're excited about, Leslie, what you got?
Okay, this is what Disney saved until the end of the Parks panel. A Villain's Land is coming to Magic Kingdom. This is like the long-awaited Beyond Big Thunder Mountain that we've been blue-skied to death about, and everybody's been wanting a Villain's Land for, you know, a very long time. Of course, Universal is doing it at Epic Universe with Dark Universe, so I think Disney was maybe hemming and hawing, wondering whether this was a little bit too edgy, but villains are a huge merchandise opportunity. So, you know, Disney's not going to leave that on the table, Joe. The merch that's going to be sold is unbelievable. And we haven't heard, you know, no dates, but we have heard that there are going to be 2 rides coming. And if you look at the concept art, like, it looks like a coaster with some thorns coming off of it. Maleficent dragon is there. So I don't know. It looks pretty exciting. And I think a lot of people are scared to mess with the castle parks. And I kind of understand that. And somehow I think this fits in because you've got like the happy side on Fantasyland, and then you have the dark side on the Villain's Land. So I think this fits as a new land in a castle park, maybe in a way that like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to me still does not.
Yeah, just to talk a little shop, I feel like obviously all these announcements were a answer to what Universal has been doing. Epic Universe, their kids theme park that they're going to open in Texas, the theme park that's rumored to be opening in the UK or that they're like developing for the UK. Obviously, these are all answers to that. This Villain's Land, this really felt like a straight up, okay, we realize Epic Universe is going to be really cool. We realize that I already forget, what's the Villain's Land in Epic Universe called?
Dark Universe, I think.
Yes, thank you.
That's what I just called it. Yes. Okay.
Okay. I was so busy coming up with my point, I wasn't listening, Leslie. But yeah, this is like a direct like response. You're gonna have Dark Universe. We're gonna have villains, and because when Universal announced Dark Universe, Disney fans were like, come on, we've been asking for villains forever. And I think this is going to be awesome. This is the part where I am not deep enough into all the inside jokes on Diz Twitter that when people were like dissecting the concept art, I couldn't tell if they were sarcastically making fun of it or seriously excited about the Thor's coaster. But you know what? I'm just gonna let Diz Twitter be Diz Twitter. I'll take at face value what I see, and I think Villains Land is gonna be pretty awesome. So we'll see when this is. Hopefully my kids aren't in college by the time this comes out. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, this could be a big project and this could take a while. But I guess this is one that maybe I'm happy to let take a while if the final product is going to be something really innovative and we're going to get some great rides and some really great theming. The theming possibilities here, if Imagineering is given the budget, could be amazing.
Or for a nerd like me, buy Lord of the Rings, you cowards, and do a Lord of the Rings land. I know that's not happening, but I can always hope. Somebody, please, just do it for me.
Somebody buy it.
So I don't have to go to New Zealand. All right. Last thing that I am super excited about is we finally heard when they're going to open this. We knew that Dinoland USA is going to, go the way of the dinosaur and that it's going to be replaced with Tropical Americas. But they told us that they're starting the work this fall, which was exciting. So dirt moving soon. And then that they're going to open in 2027. So that is one of the few things that I feel like we got a firm timeline, not firm timeline, but like a timeline that we can be like, okay, in 2 years. No, oh my gosh, it's 3 years. Come on. When I say these things out loud, it's like, come on, Disney, move faster. But yeah, in 3 years, we're going to be able to experience this. We already kind of assumed that Dinosaur was going to be rethemed to Indiana Jones. They say it's going to be different than the one in Disneyland. Will I go 0 for 3 on enjoying Indiana Jones attractions? Because I do not like the one in Disneyland Paris. I do not like the one in Disneyland California. Those are the two that I've been on. So third time's the charm, maybe. Maybe this is my Raiders of the Lost Ark. But yeah, so there's going to be the Indiana Jones themed. And then I think the thing that was exciting to me is that Encanto, they're going to make an actual ride out of it. We weren't sure if they were just going to have theming or maybe you walk through the casita or whatever, but it sounds like it's going to be attraction. So I think that's pretty cool. And I'm just glad that finally, it's time for Animal Kingdom to get some love again. Pandora was 7-8 years ago. So yeah, it's going to be time by the time that opens.
Yeah, this was long overdue. I'm excited about it as well. And they did mention maybe a third attraction. They didn't really sell it that way, but it sounds like a little carousel with animals as well. So maybe up to 3 attractions in
They're
this.
Just gonna
in this
retheme.
land.
They're gonna retheme Triceratops Spin.
Oh, got it.
No, I mean I didn't even see that announcement. But when you said a small attraction, that's immediately what because you can't have. Yeah, I mean it makes sense, right? You can't have a dinosaur. You can't have Triceratops spinning around in the tropical Americas. It doesn't make sense.
That's fair. Though they said carousel, so I thought carousel as in King Arthur carousel.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, I mean,
that is a carousel ride as well. You're right.
Yeah, but those attractions are cheap too. So I mean, if they totally just remove it for something else, I mean, we wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, if that happens,
TBD.
R.I.P. Triceratops
TBD.
Spin.
All right. That sounds like a great addition to Animal Kingdom. I mean, I still think Animal Kingdom needs more than this. This is not enough fully, but this is going to be a fairly soon addition. Your children you'll still have kids in elementary school when this comes out.
Yeah. All right. So you wrote up a punch list of all the other things that we missed. I can go over some of them that I thought of. This almost made my list. There's going to be, I don't know what to call it, Cars Land B or Mini Cars Land or whatever, but they're going to add a Cars themed land to Frontierland. So that's, I guess that's not beyond Big Thunder. It's Big Thunder adjacent, but I think that'll be really cool. There's supposed to be 2 attractions with that, and it sounds like it's not going to be Radiator Springs Racers. So again, keeping with the theme of keeping things different between Disneyland and Disney World. What other attractions do we have in the Florida parks? Announcements.
All right. Also in Magic Kingdom, we are going to get a new nighttime parade. It's called Disney's Starlight. So that's coming. People are excited. There's also going to be a Pirates of the Caribbean themed lounge. I think we all kind of knew something like that was coming. So that's the big Magic Kingdom additions in addition to Villains Land and like you say, the cars attractions in Frontierland. And then I'll take Epcot as well before we move to the other parks there. Epcot's getting essentially nada except for a Spaceship Earth themed lounge. Epcot's going to be neglected for a while, even though it's not really done.
Epcot really, lost Mary Poppins, lost the Spaceship Earth theme. Epcot, I mean, it ended up being pretty nice. I know everyone hates on the gardens. I still like them, although the lighting package doesn't seem to be working very much anymore. It's weird that they're building all these lounges. I guess they do a lot of money, food and bev wise. I don't know what else to say, but a Spaceship Earth lounge. Yeah.
Booze.
Yeah, that's right. So a Spaceship Earth lounge, that is cool conceptually. So that'll be good. At Animal Kingdom, we already talked about it. Tropical Americas, that had already been announced. And then Hollywood Studios, a small announcement was that they're going to add The Mandalorian and Grogu, I think is the name of the movie that's going to be coming out, but the Mandalorian movie is scheduled for 2026. And kind of a la Star Tours in 2026, they're going to add scenes with the Mandalorian into Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which makes me wonder, like, they could have done that really at any time. I guess because the only thing you have to change is what? The pre-show? Really, that's like the only thing you have to change, because everything else is just the screen that they show you when you're in the attraction. So, and you just have Hondo Anaka say something else to you. You just theme something, right? And so I think that'll be cool to see. I don't know why they haven't thought about this before, honestly.
You think they would have future-proofed this when they built it? Because I think at the time that this came out, I mean, they were already having different scenes in Star Tours. So you think they could have seen this coming. And I guess I know when they built Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, they actually already planned for that Halloween-themed overlay there as part of that refurb. So this is something Disney knows about. I'm surprised it's taken so long, but there's a movie to promote. So I'm sure that made them spring into action.
Definitely. Also, if you're watching on video, I apologize. I didn't realize it had gotten so dark in here, but it's too late now. Leslie should have said something. I just looked at myself.
It was like a slow decline, and I was like, I don't know what we do now. Like, do you turn on a light?
I'm like shrouded in darkness. So I apologize.
Universe.
Dark universe. In fact, next time Leslie starts talking, I'm going to go turn on the light. I just can't handle this. It doesn't look right. YouTube.com/@DisneyDeciphered if you want to see the mess that this video is right now. Leslie, I know that 2025 is going to be Disneyland's 70th anniversary. I did not pay attention to the Disneyland 70th anniversary announcements at all. What are they bringing to the table? Is it going to be exciting, or were there no Disneyland 70th announcements and I didn't miss anything?
You didn't miss anything. There were no announcements. We got a date. John Stamos said something, sang something. That was great. People were distracted by John Stamos, so nobody really asked for details. But we'll get some more. I think that's going to be coming very soon, because again, that's 2025. I mean, that's coming very soon, and usually they start celebrating those anniversaries, spring, early summer. So this is like coming fairly soon on the calendar. So we'll get more about that. I'll take Disneyland so you can go turn on the light. And the other thing we got for Disneyland Park is coming to the cinema. We're going to get, where Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is, we're going to get a Walt Disney animatronic and a new show there. It's going to alternate with the Lincoln show. So that's not going away, but you're adding in Walt Disney animatronic, which is like both awesome and creepy. So to see Walt Disney come to life. But I mean, I think Disney, like, history fans are super excited about that. And we also got an opening date for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, November 15th. So that's really soon. Got to schedule a Disneyland trip here, apparently, Joe, so I can see that. And we also got the same announcement for Hollywood Studios, the Mandalorian and Grogu scenes in Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. So I think we already covered DCA, most of the announcements, the Coco ride, the Avengers Campus, 2 new rides.
Yeah,
but
except for the
one
big
more,
one.
Joe.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is a big one. I don't know.
It's really tough to tell. And all right, let's be fair, okay? We did not care when they brought Pandora to Animal Kingdom, and we were proven completely wrong because Flight of Passage blew us out of the water. Now, Flight of Passage, I'm burning the lead. There's going to be an Avatar Land in Disney's California Adventure, and we got a little bit of detail about that. Now, we know that they're not bringing Flight of Passage, which, again, they're keeping things separate on the coasts. And so we know it's going to be some kind of boat ride based on, I guess, Avatar 3, Fire and Water, I think is what it's called. I think James Cameron, did he do a bunch of talking? I'm just glad I didn't watch this live and I just followed it,
I think
online
it's
and
like
stuff.
2 and 3 because Way of Water was 2 and Fire and Ash is 3. So I think it's kind of both is what I've been. I don't know.
So this is what we're gonna say. Do we think we care right now? No. But at the same time, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that this might be a pretty cool. And like I said, I do love a boat ride. So we'll see how this ends up being, but there's going to be an Avatar land at DCA. After that, most of the announcements were in the parks. There's a couple of smaller announcements with Disney Cruise Line, like what shows are going to be on what ships and stuff like that. We're going to skip all that stuff. But attraction wise, Shanghai's getting a Spider-Man coaster. Hong Kong's getting a Spider-Man attraction. Tokyo's getting a new nighttime spectacular. But I think they saved the majority of their announcements for Disneyland Paris. I think they saved all their announcements for Disneyland Paris in the new Disney Adventure World, which is that what they're renaming Disney Studios?
Yes, yes. Disney Adventure World is the new generic bizarre name for the Studios Park in Disneyland Paris. I think it's roundly disliked, but it's what we got.
Yeah, so I mean, this Disney Adventure World, there's going to be a Frozen Land opening in 2026. So that's exciting. A nighttime water spectacular. And then, this is like the opposite of the kombucha lady meme. Disney was like, new Lion King land and attraction. And everyone was like, yeah. And then they were like, based on the live action films. And people are like, what? So we'll see how that one is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's the same story, so like, I don't
Well,
know
it's
if
not
it really
though, because
matters.
of
If it's,
Mufasa the prequel. Like, what if it's based on Mufasa the prequel that's coming out?
oh, okay, fair enough. But it's like, I mean, I don't know. You don't really build it differently. The lions are going to look like the lions are going to look like. I don't know. I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I
But
mean,
it
I
does
guess
look.
it's just, is the story going to resonate, right? Like, is it going to be the story that we all know and love, or is it going to be the new story? Similar to the issues they had with Black Spire Outpost and Galaxy's Edge, which I don't really
Yeah.
care about, but I know, in terms of what's going to sell tickets.
Yeah, that's fair. So we shall see, but it does look like they're going to get like a Splash Mountain Tiana's style flume ride there, and I think Disneyland Paris had been promised that like I don't even know ages ago and never got it. So they're making good on this promise now. But it does look like Paris second park is going to finally become a full-fledged theme park, maybe by the end of this decade, perhaps.
Yes, maybe before 2050.
Famous last words. All right. Well, that's a lot of announcements. We got through the big stuff, got through the small stuff even. And, we've joked about the timeline, but I'm hopeful if we get anything new in the next couple of years in the US, and then we'll just sit tight. What percentage, Joe, of this is actually going to come to being? Because I know we've been told like this is all shovel ready and whatnot, but we know from the entire history of D23 that these announcements, not all of them actually come into being. So what's your number?
Well, Leslie, what a great segue, because this was my Disney do or don't. And
Okay.
my Disney don't was going to be, don't get your heart set on at least all of these announcements. Like, do not get your heart set. I know that there was a global pandemic, but we already referenced, a lot of the stuff that we heard that was going to happen at Epcot never happened. And just realistically, I don't think all of these things are going to happen. Most of them will, and some of them will look different than what has been announced. But like, whatever you're imagining in your mind right now, don't get too attached to it. It's exciting to think about, but don't get too attached to it. So what would I say? Like, I would say 90% of this stuff is going to make it in some form or fashion. But I would say only 60% of this stuff, maybe 50%, will be like kind of exactly what they seem to be announcing right now. And yeah, they're leaving stuff open with concept art and things like that. But, I think a lot of things will change between now and 2031 or whatever.
Fair enough. I think we're going to get Tropical Americas like it's promised. I think we're going to get the 2 Avengers Campus rides as promised. But a lot of these other things seem distant in the future, especially like that Avatar land and ride. That, to me, the details keep shape-shifting already. So they haven't pinned it down. But yeah, great Disney do or don't show.
All right, well, that does it for this episode. Apologize for all the lighting issues. Got to get a ring light or something, Leslie. But yeah, very excited about all these announcements. Let us know the announcement you're most excited about. DisneyDeciphered@gmail.com, at WWDeciphered on Twitter, or on Instagram, Disney Deciphered. Leslie, where can people find you if they're looking to connect with you and see your work?
Trips with Tykes everywhere on social media and tripswithtykes.com. What about you, Joe?
You can find me calling an electrician, and then also at AsAJoeFlies on social media, or Joseph Chung at travelmation.net with an M if you're looking to plan a Disney trip, Universal, cruises, whatever. I'm your man. All right. Well, that does it for this episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We're very excited to see what this looks like in 5, 6, 7 years. It's going to be an exciting time. But yeah, other than that, Leslie, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. And I will see you handcuffing yourself to Muppet Vision 3D so they don't destroy it.
Thanks, Joe.